What's up? It's Prison Mike. All right.
Prison Joe.
Prison Joe. Back in my day. All right. Well, hopefully you all can stick with me on this bit. This is why I'm wearing orange. Today we are talking about Marty Supreme Christmas Day with Connor Hernan.
Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
Marty Supreme Christmas Day. On Marty Supreme Christmas Day. Marty Supreme Christmas Day. Hey, Timothy, has anything interesting happened to you in your life the last couple months? Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
I'm going to see how many times I can say that on this show. That would be awesome if we get like somehow tagged because of this. Anyway, from the 5 people that watch the show. So
it's Timothée Chalamet, probably.
Yeah, Timmy's definitely following this show for sure. He's like definitely into it.
Shwat!
All right. Anyway,
He told me.
ladies and gentlemen, thank you again for tuning into. He told you. Yeah, thank you for tuning into BTS with Joe show. I can't even remember the name of my own show. We are talking to Connor Hernan today about the one and only and very awesome Marty Supreme Christmas Day.
I saw it the day after, so
Dang.
yeah.
I feel like it's wrong to not see Marty Supreme on Christmas Day.
I was just like kind of understandably busy on Christmas Day,
Yeah.
so I went Marty Supreme Christmas 12/26.
Nice. I went Marty Supreme Christmas Eve and then came home and hosted people at my house.
Dude, you should have brought them to see Marty Supreme.
I should have. Except it was my family, and I don't think they would have enjoyed Marty Supreme very much. It was a great movie, though.
Yeah, it was really good.
It was excellent. So, a little bit about that. What did you think about Marty Supreme Christmas Day?
Just like in general,
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. I thought Timothée Chalamet was awesome. Obviously,
Yeah.
that's like the big thing about the movie. That's like the whole discussion. Essentially, is just about him. He's gotten to the point where like I'll go see a movie just because he's in it, but
Yeah.
I actually just wanted to see this movie even if he wasn't in it. It was really good. It was really it caught me off guard a little bit, which it shouldn't have because I knew what kind of movie it was. Like I knew it wasn't going to be like a sports movie. Like I went to see it with my brother, and he walked out and he's like, "I thought that was going to be a sports movie." I was like, "Yeah, I didn't," and I was still confused.
Really? Okay, I want to unpack that with you because
Sure.
So a little bit of backstory. I saw the movie, gave it 5 stars, thought it was an amazing movie. Really, really impressed with it on a lot of levels. And then Connor usually aligns with me roughly on
Generally.
reviews, which I feel like is why this works well, is we agree a lot. But he actually kind of didn't agree with his initial take. He like texted me and was like, "That was a weird movie," and I was like,
Okay, but just because it's a
Interesting.
weird movie doesn't mean I didn't like it.
"True,
I still gave it like a 4.5 if we're checking Letterboxd.
right, exactly." So I want to unpack how you land at a 4.5, but your initial reaction is
was
weird
weird.
movie. Yeah, I want to unpack that.
I feel like it's not out of the box to say just that it was a weird movie. Like,
What were you expecting? I mean, yeah, sports movie, but
they leaned a lot into that message of like dream big was like their thing and like doing whatever you needed to be able to actually achieve greatness. And while that was what the movie was about, I think that it was I would argue that it was a slightly different message given in the movie than what they were, the way they were talking about it. So it felt to me like they would have been spending more time. Because if you think about the movie, he never actually really achieves ping pong greatness, does he?
well, he does, and he
In his own
doesn't.
head, he does.
He does
But in the
for
world,
himself.
he doesn't really.
Yeah. And I think that's the point, in my opinion, of the movie
I'd agree.
is that he's not supposed to achieve worldly greatness, like where we would all look and be like, oh, wow, he's actually a good guy. I can root for him. Like you're still kind of supposed to be like, wow, he's a douche at the end of the movie.
He
Like,
sucks.
I can't believe that this guy is who I've been, rooting for. But he has very human qualities to him that we can all relate to. And that's why you find yourself rooting for him, even though, yeah, he's not a very likable character. We all have those exact same flaws. At some point in our lives, we've encountered some form of Marty Supreme in our lives, right? And that wanting greatness and, you know, being willing to do anything to achieve whatever your goal is, you know, sometimes you do lose track of what real success is because you're just trying so hard to achieve what you think you want. And I think that's really the message of the movie.
Yeah, I would totally agree with that. But I just think that was like slightly off from the message that I was like. I didn't expect it to be as maybe deep as it was.
Oh, okay.
Like I expected it to be more of a
Like a
very
crowd
face
pleaser?
value like message from the movie, especially with the way they were marketing it and the way they were talking about it. I expected it to be a lot more of the type of like, yes, he kind of sucks. Yes, he's hurting a lot of people in his life to get his goal, but it is still revolving around like, because essentially it was just a movie about him trying to get money for a plane ticket.
Right.
If you get really deep down there.
Yeah.
So I expected like a slightly larger, like, I guess like landscape that they were going to play on. Like I expected it to be more like, yes, hurting people in his life. Yes, making you question why you're really rooting for him, but also more of that like worldly success, like in the ping pong world and fighting for different things than just money. Because I thought it was really interesting how he says halfway through the movie, he's like, it's not about money. It's like, well, you didn't see Marty Supreme Christmas Day, did you? Because clearly he just really wants money. And I get that's actually not what he wants. Yeah. But I just expected like a different type of success, I guess. So it threw me a little bit when it was a much like more like internal character arc and process.
Yeah.
And it doesn't bother me.
Okay.
It doesn't bother me at all. I thought it was an awesome movie. I loved his performance. It's just I did not
expect that going in.
Like when I was sitting there and it's like we're spending 20 minutes shooting at some guy because of a dog. It's like, what is going on? Like it's less of like it's a weird movie and more just like it's one of those movies where the whole time you can't help but be like, what is happening right now?
Yeah.
It's like, what is going on?
There's
it's awesome.
One scene in particular that I want to get your take on because I honestly don't understand this one scene.
Sure.
And hilariously, shout out Pat Bautista if you ever watch this. We were talking about Marty Supreme Christmas Day and nerding out about it.
Of course.
And
as one does.
As one does. Pat and I always kind of have this rift on where we align on movies. Like it's very rare that we align on the same movie.
Huh.
And it's usually like some of those movies that you just arguably cannot say is a bad movie. Like it's just an awesome movie. And that's kind of where we land on the same movie. And this was one I didn't think we were going to align on. Like last year, loved Anora. I thought that was by far the best movie of the year. And then Pat reviewed it and gave it like 3 stars. And I was so insulted. I just like felt personally offended. But then Marty Supreme comes out this year. Did not think we were going to align on it. And he was like, no, I love that movie. And I was like, dang, that's awesome. So we started unpacking that. But he brought up one scene that I completely forgot even existed in the movie when I walked out. The bee scene or the honey scene.
Yeah.
Where he like just, it's a flashback scene in the movie without getting too in the weeds of it. It's basically a flashback of a Jewish man who was in, was it Auschwitz? It wasn't Auschwitz.
Yeah,
was
Auschwitz.
it? It was actually Auschwitz. So he was in Auschwitz and he basically, through a series of things, sneaks out, finds honey, finds a beehive, scares off all the bees, smokes them out, takes all the honey, lathers it all over his body, and then there's just like a random cut scene where it cuts to all of his fellow prisoners licking honey off of his body. It was just random because it doesn't ever come back up in the movie at all. Why do you think that was in there?
See, it's weird because it's kind of this like just yet another like absurd thing in this like really absurd movie.
Yeah.
But it's also like this like really like, at least it feels like it should be like a really like deep moment.
Right.
But in the same way, it's like played for comedy.
And it's the only flashback in the entire movie.
And it's not even about him.
Right.
And I don't know. I think there's a couple ways to look at it. I think one way is just to like make like a foil maybe between Marty and whatever that character's name was. I can't remember the other ping pong guy,
I forget
his friend.
But yeah.
And to show that, like, this is a guy who actually has had all this success in ping pong. Like, he was a two-time world champion, I believe they said. And to show, like, that gap between their actual, like, lived experience, and to say, like, this guy has actually been through something incredibly, like, heartbreaking and deep and profound, and Marty's never been through anything like that. And here we have, and he's making a joke out of it for his own success. And he's making a joke about this guy's, like, big, like, this traumatic incident from this guy's life where this guy was being a super, like, it's a funny, like, it is a funny and kind of uncomfortable thing, but also, like, it's incredibly, if you think about it, it's very selfless, and it's very, like, it's a really great thing to do if you're in that situation, obviously.
Right, he's trying to keep his fellow people
like,
alive.
those people are starving, and he's helping them, and Marty's taking that and he's turning it into a punchline, essentially, so that he can, like, look at this rich guy's wife.
Yeah.
Basically.
Right.
And so I'd say that's the way I saw it, is that it's a way to, like, really set a contrast between this actually deep and profound human being who's had the success that Marty wants, and Marty who's willing to make a joke out of that for, like, a moment of essentially nothing that he feels is important and he feels is bringing him some sort of elevation and, like, making him feel larger. So he's making this guy feel small to make himself feel bigger. And I think he does that a lot throughout the movie. I think it's just, like, another moment of that. But I still think it was really weird.
Yeah, no, that's fascinating. I actually really like that perspective on it. Because, yeah, to me, as I was watching it, I was like, what? Like, what? Because it could be shot as just a conversation going on, and you could just cut to Marty looking away and, you know, that kind of thing, right? It could just be a normal dinner table conversation. But they specifically took the time to do a flashback scene of that scene. And I was like, okay, this is really interesting. And it's very, like, visually striking because it's different than anything else you see in the movie. And it's the only flashback and everything else. And I was like, I wonder if it carries more weight. But in a lot of ways, I think you're right of it should carry weight as an audience member, right? Like, to us, it stands out. But contrast that to Marty just completely disregarding the story, despite everything that's all the weight that's being carried by this story, completely disregarding that to just check out the lady across the room. And I feel like it puts us in the shoes of a character actually interacting with Marty and giving us that gravity of, like, oh, wow, this is actually, like, he's a terrible person.
They're
and
making you feel the same way whether you were him or you're sitting in the room, because you see that scene, you're like, well, that was really weird anyways. So they're making you feel the same way that he's feeling, or that someone maybe hearing that story with him would be feeling. Yeah. And I think, while it is kind of like a weird, like, step away from tonally, at least from the rest of the movie, it's a cool moment in that way.
Yeah.
That it's, like, really putting you in that scene and really making it clear what kind of person he is.
Something I was really, really impressed with in that movie, there have been 3 movies this year that I can really note. Well, 4 actually, that I can note that did this for me. Marty Supreme was a big one. I just saw yesterday, Is This Thing On with Will Arnett. Really good movie. And then the other 2 were Hamnet, which...
Fantastic movie.
Yeah, arguably still the best movie of the year.
It's up there.
It's between that and Marty Supreme for me. And then...
See, I'd offer a third movie.
Yeah, Frankenstein. I know, I loved Frankenstein.
That's awesome.
But to me, those 2 movies are, although at a more understated level than Frankenstein, I feel like they are more deserving on just being a very simple story told so profoundly.
I would agree.
On both of those, where Frankenstein is a little bit more straightforward of a story.
It's also very, like, overstated and dramatic.
Right. And even though I enjoyed Frankenstein so much, I do kind of go back to like, if you can tell a very simple story and make me really feel it the whole time, like I respect that a little bit more.
No, I get it. Yeah.
But anyway, these movies, right, do this really good thing of the camera. Oh, and what's the other one? Sentimental Value. Also really good movie.
Is that the one with Stellan Skarsgård?
It is, yeah. But this one thing is in their camera technique, they show you by where the camera goes. Like the camera's alive in all of these movies, which is phenomenal. In Marty Supreme, they do it in their lighting too, like just barely enough light to be like properly exposed on the camera, which is brilliant. So it like guides your eye as you're watching the movie too. It's really, really well done. But it puts you in the movie, like you're there with these characters and you feel very immersed, which is actually kind of crazy because we've been doing filmmaking for how many years and they still find ways to kind of surprise you in some of these movies, just by the way they do their camera techniques and stuff. But yeah, very impressed with that. But Marty Supreme did this in a lot of scenarios where you kind of just get immersed into the story, where you feel like you're the character kind of watching him, and there's like 80 characters watching this guy, but you get all of their unique perspectives because of the way it's shot, which I thought was just brilliant throughout the whole movie. And it's different. Like if you watch it again, which I'm sure you probably will, if you watch it again,
Eventually.
you can see that it's shot differently depending on whose eyes you're looking through, which is really interesting. It's not a huge, like stark contrast, but you can see in like the technique that's used between like Gwyneth Paltrow's character or I forget her name, but the other girl that's like in most of the movie with him.
Odessa Zion,
Yeah, something like that.
I think.
She's new, which I was kind of impressed. She did a really good job in the movie.
Yeah, never heard of her before.
But yeah, and his mom, his uncle, like stuff like that. Just really interesting how it changes depending on who he's conversing with and
I'll
stuff.
have to look out for that. I didn't notice that.
It was actually really fascinating. But yeah, great movie. I loved so much of just their cinematography and their storytelling. There is one thing I want to talk to you about because I told you I would. Marty's mom. Do you think Marty's mom and his uncle are good people or bad people? Most of the people in the movie are not likable people. In particular, unpopular opinion, the guy in charge of the ping pong tournament is the biggest asshole in that movie. I freaking hated that guy. Every time I would see his stupid face on there, I was like, I hate you.
But do you just hate him because Marty hates him and you're being told to hate him, or do you actually hate him because
I hate him because Marty hates him, but I also hate him because I know people like that in the real world. And I think they did a great job of creating a character that you can understand why he hates Marty.
Yeah.
But you can also hate him at the same time.
Well, you hate him because if you were Marty, it'd be the worst situation of all time.
And he's just like a terrible human being.
But what do you want him to do?
What do I want him to do? I just want him to be polite when he has a conversation.
But
like,
would
I know
you be polite
Marty's
to Marty Supreme? Marty
I think
Mauser?
I would, because this is
But
also,
once you've interacted with him like 10 times.
this might be my toxic trait. I found Marty super entertaining and like genuinely hilarious. Like I could see myself being friends with Marty.
I just
because
you wouldn't want to, though.
You wouldn't want to after a point. But
Think about what he did to that guy with the cab. That's you.
That's true.
I mean, he's like an electric person. It's like
he is, and I feel like that's the thing. Like you can be very attracted to his energy without being like, oh, he's intrinsically a good person, and I should be hanging out with this. Like you can know it's a bad person to spend time with, and still want to hang out with him. Anyway, that was
Fair enough.
a long. So, his mom. What did we think about his mom and his uncle?
I mean, I think it would be incorrect, like almost objectively, and maybe that's a strong statement, to say that they're bad people. I think clearly they have his good at heart. Like their intentions are definitely good. Now,
see, this is again. I hate his mom and his uncle. As you're answering this, I'm like,
see, you're just getting tricked into feeling the way he feels.
But I don't know because like
Why don't you go first? Why do you hate them?
no. I think you should give the good side, and then I'll be devil's advocate.
Because think about it for a second. Like,
The more I'm hearing you unpack it, the more like triggered I'm getting. Go ahead.
he is like, at the end of the day, he's like crazily and excessively self-sabotaging. And now I don't agree with people that are not willing and supportive of people in following their dreams. And so this kid does have a dream, and like you could definitely be more supportive of him. Like if you're the uncle, maybe it wouldn't be that hard to just have a part-time job for this kid and just let him work for that money for that airplane ticket and then go play ping pong and then come back and keep working. Like that would not, I mean, maybe he doesn't want to do that, Marty, but it wouldn't be that hard to offer that instead of saying it's this or ping pong, like never again. So I don't agree with that. Like, and I think that's part of the point of the movie is it's an interesting dynamic between like, yes, this guy's destroying his life, and yes, he's destroying the lives of the people around him for a dream that's like kind of ridiculous, but also like follow your dreams. And I think that's kind of like the intersection in the movie, and the point of the movie is to say like, follow your dreams, but not like this guy. Because like those parents or his mom and his uncle are portrayed generally in a pretty poor light. Because like he's trying to arrest his nephew. They're not being very helpful or supportive. His mom is not being very helpful or supportive. She's lying to him to try to get him to abandon his dream and spend time with her. But also he's driven them to a point. Like I'm sure raising Marty Mauser, you probably get to a point where you're not going to see him if you don't try stuff like that. And you're never going to hear from him again unless he wants money or he wants to stay at your house. So like, could they be more supportive of him? Yes. But if I had to guess, is their lack of support a product of the way he's treated them? Almost certainly. Like, he's an absolute... He's horrible to his mom. He's horrible. And his uncle, he like robs his store at gunpoint, which to be fair, the uncle could have actually made that easy for him.
He was owed the money.
The uncle was being pretty horrible.
Yeah.
But they're trying, I think, with positive intention to fix the thing that they think is the root of the problem with this kid, which is the ping pong. And I think they're misunderstanding the root of the problem. And I think maybe the reason it's as hard for him as it is and he has as many problems as he does is because that's how he's been treated. I wouldn't be shocked if you could look more into the life of that character. But I don't think they're like evil people. I think that's kind of crazy to say. I don't know. Why do you hate them? It can't be much different than what I just said.
No, as you're explaining it, I'm realizing that maybe this has more to do with like, do you ever notice when you watch a movie, this is what I love about film and just art in general, any kind of art, is you bring a part of yourself. If art is good, in my opinion, you allow yourself to be seen in the art, and you allow
that's
almost like self-reflection by viewing art.
The whole point of art is to tell you a little piece of humanity. There's no point in making art if you're not doing that.
Right.
And that's why I like to think that I wouldn't say no art is bad art, but I think the definition that a lot of people have of bad art is just incorrect.
I
because
think
of that.
to people, I've often told people this. If you think something is bad, it's because you can't relate to it. It doesn't mean that it's intrinsically bad, which then brings us to
there are some things that are probably
it brings you to a whole different discussion. But like in general, you go to the art museum, you look at one thing and you're like, that is so boring. But somebody literally spent hours of their time working on whatever that was, right? Yeah, exactly.
I was watching it. He loved that painting.
Yeah. So that's like that's the thing is like you can really relate to something that somebody else doesn't see any value in, right? But bringing this back full circle, I think Marty Supreme, the reason that I have the views of, I'm even thinking about the guy in charge of the ping pong tournament. The reason I have those views of people is because I see Marty in myself to some extent, not the bad parts, only the good. But
sorry,
I've had throughout my life, starting my own company, running things myself, trying to make it as an entrepreneur, things like that. And I'm super young and very insignificant in the long run of entrepreneurs. But I feel like to some extent I've unlocked that thing of like, you do have to just push through whatever like you can see a barrier in your way that there is no way around it. And you have to just find a way through it. And you have to just keep pushing through. And like a million things will go wrong in your day. And you have to just still accomplish whatever that goal is. Right. And everyone kind of has that to some extent. But I feel like you do run into these people that are harder to deal with than others. And like his mom being like constantly manipulating him. Like that drives me crazy.
It's bad. Yeah. Don't
But
get
like
me wrong.
we've interacted with those people, right?
Yeah.
At some point, not our moms, but you've interacted with someone who's somehow tried to manipulate you for your time. Mm-hmm. It's super annoying. You've had people that, I mean, I get this all the time, but people don't pay you on time or don't pay you at all. Like the uncle, right? Like, I need my money. Why wouldn't you give me my money, right? Like those kinds of things. And it's those little things that are very relatable to us as humans and as, for me, just in the industry that I'm in, there's little things that you relate to. And I think that might be more why I hate them so much and less because they're intrinsically bad people. But like when his uncle like showed up and stole all of his money that he had literally gone out and earned after he had worked for the uncle and earned money, all just to manipulate this kid into working for him. Like if the kid doesn't want to work for you, he doesn't want to work for you. Leave him alone.
Let him, even if he's going to be destitute playing ping pong, let him play. Like,
let him do it.
At the end of the day, like,
yeah.
I get that you're trying to help, but like you could help by actually helping.
And that, again, it literally reminds me of, again, people that I've met along my journey in life of where they think they're helping. They think they're going to be the person that like breaks through of like, this is really what you should be doing. And it's just not their place to tell anyone what they should do with their life. I mean, it would be like me telling you like, oh, you need to major in, I don't know, political science, which you have absolutely no interest in, but because you have an aptitude for it. Yeah. Because you have an aptitude for it, that kind of, like that would be crazy. I think that's more why I hate them.
Well, that's why the movie is so good,
right?
Is because like you're somebody who, at least to a certain extent at this point, I hope, has followed your dream, at least in a little bit. You've dreamed big.
We have a podcast because of that.
And you're working, even if you're not there, you're working towards it.
Right.
Actively every day. And so
I think we all are, right? It's part of being Americans. We're constantly
deep
told
down
to go towards our dreams.
Somewhere deep down, everybody, even people that are not actively, somewhere there's something eating away at them, and eventually, hopefully, that will break through. And so that's why the movie is so interesting, is because every single person that's felt that can relate to Marty. And depending where you are in your journey, maybe you see more of those things. Like I haven't seen as many of those people in my life because I haven't broken through with a lot of that stuff yet to put myself in those situations.
It's good that you have a lot of good people in your life.
I'm sure they'll come. I'm sure the bad people will come. But I'm seeing the other perspective right now because they haven't yet, at least not in those specific stereotypes or archetypes or whatever the word is. And I think that's what the movie ultimately is about, is just saying, like, even when he's doing these awful things, there's a little bit of yourself in there and there's a little bit of you in there. And this is how it actually, like, it's a very incredibly over-dramatized way of saying this is what following your dreams is like. This is the American story. It's incredibly dramatized, and through the course of that, it makes him into kind of a horrible person. But you always root for him because in his situation, you hopefully wouldn't do the same, but you would hopefully still claw like tooth and nail to try and get up there where he did. And you would try to find that success, because that's ultimately, again, he's a horrible person. Obviously, terrible, terrible dude. Does a lot of really bad stuff. But I guess calling him a horrible person would be incorrect, because at the end of the day, he is pursuing something that's incredibly important to him. And I think that scene where he's like, I have a purpose and it's a burden, is so important, because the movie is about trying to make it not a burden and trying to make it this great joy that it can be. And he just goes down these rabbit holes that are not necessarily good for him as a product of, I think partially his own pride, but also the situation he's been put in
Right.
and the way he's been raised, where he's been told over and over and again, no, you're not allowed. You can't do that. You can't do this. So that makes that I wouldn't be shocked if that's what brings out all those problematic tendencies. It's like if I'm being told I can't, then all of a sudden the things I'm willing to do to be able to become a lot more.
Right.
Or if you're told you can, you're more likely to actually follow through in a more less problematic way. So I think it's kind of that dichotomy of like follow your dreams, but also like this is the product of like trying, like it's saying follow your dreams and don't try to stop people from following theirs, if that makes sense. Which I think is really cool.
Yeah, no, I love I just love how layered the movie is. And when I first walked out of it, I had one perception of the movie, right? Like initially. And then it's one of those great movies where the more you talk to people about it, the more it kind of unlocks other things and it tells you more about yourself as you're watching, rehashing the movie.
I've enjoyed it more just talking to you.
Yeah, right.
Genuinely.
You just feel like you unlock a whole different understanding of the movie, which I think is amazing when you have movies that do that, right? We just talked about Stranger Things and I didn't feel that at all.
Because it's bad. I bet you'd feel that if we talked about season 1.
Yeah.
I bet you would.
Yeah, because you can relate to it a little bit more. But yeah, I just thought it had a really powerful message, despite being like, I've seen so many things where people have like reviewed the movie and they've been like, this guy's just terrible. And it's like,
You're
okay.
ignoring the purpose of the movie, though.
Right, exactly.
Like, yes, he's terrible.
There was actually a hilarious review that I read. Some lady, I think, posted on, she posted on TikTok about it. And she was like, I cannot believe that Timothée Chalamet, she couldn't say his name right, has, promoted this movie for kids. And I was like, what? She's like, this is an R-rated movie. I took my 10-year-old to see this because he was really excited about it and wanted to see Timothée Chalamet on the screen. And so I took him. This was a terrible movie. This is rated R. And I was like, how do you go through life
Holy lack of
not
awareness.
understanding this is an R-rated movie? And then also being like, this is totally a kid's movie. Like, you watch one trailer for this, it's not a kid's movie. Anyway, I thought that was hilarious. But it is funny that a lot of people have been walking away from this movie just being like, this is a terrible movie. It's about a terrible guy. It tries to make you root for a terrible person, and all for the sake of like chasing your dreams and whatever. And I think what's interesting about that is those people are telling themselves something about themselves by watching the movie and taking that away from the movie. Is like, oh, I just watched a movie about a terrible person. Yeah, you can't relate to any good side of what he's doing. That should tell you something about yourself. Maybe you're not chasing your dreams. And not that everyone has to or whatever, but
obviously don't chase your dreams the way he did.
Don't chase your dreams the way he did. But I think there is something noble about having a purpose and pursuing your purpose in life. And there is just this awesome point with a lot of people. I'm drawn to biopics about very successful people. I don't know why. I just really like them. But even like The Wolf of Wall Street, terrible guy again, but amazing movie about just this guy completely blinders on, full steam ahead, going after what he wants in life, right? And I think that's something that's really interesting about the human condition, is that we can have that happen where all rationale tells us not to do this, right? And we're like, no, I need whatever the thing is. I need to accomplish this. And therefore, everything else can be thrown to the wayside. And I thought that was really well illustrated. There's one point in this movie where everything just like time kind of stops and he delivers this short line to his girlfriend, or I don't even know if she's really his girlfriend. Rachel.
Yeah.
And he tells her, like, he's like, no offense, but you don't have a purpose. And I do. And I found that a hilarious moment, but also really telling in the overall scope of the movie. Like, they clearly slow down time in that moment to let you kind of peek into a window of like, this is his character. He's literally explaining his character to you. And it is that thing of like, he sees himself having this amazing purpose. She also sees herself having an amazing purpose, but he doesn't see her purpose until the very end of the movie, which we'll get into. Of she's a mom, and she now all of a sudden has this higher calling that just is intrinsically inside of her, literally. Like she can't help it. She's a mom, and she's going to have to take care of her kid and provide for this kid and everything else. And so she sees that side, and that's her purpose. And that's why she's following him around doing all this insane stuff.
Well,
With
it's
it.
interesting because she does the same thing. If you look at it, you can make a whole nother movie about her following the same arc he's following. It's just you kind of think poorly of her because you're seeing it again from his perspective. It's
And
like, why is
you're
she doing
seeing
all
it
this
as
crap?
he doesn't understand. Because, yeah, literally the whole thing is she has a purpose. She has all of this drive and everything inside of her, but it's something that he just doesn't see and doesn't value, which is hilarious because that's what everyone else throughout the movie has with him except her, because she understands, like, I do have a purpose and everything. And when he tells her that, she just kind of shuts down, which I thought was a really interesting, like choice directing wise, was to have her shut down and let us understand that. Like we're watching it rather than her over explain it and be like, no, I do have a purpose, blah, 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 blah. Like you let the audience kind of come along for the ride on that. And I thought that I was really impressed with that. I thought it was a great movie in so many ways with just the layering that they do with the characters. And somebody said that they thought there were too many side characters, and I disagreed because every character had a purpose to show us something about Marty or something about us and our understanding of Marty, which I thought was awesome.
It also just made the world feel like full and real.
Oh, yeah.
Because there were so many like less people. Like the movie felt crazy and chaotic in a way, but it was very like you're right, ordered in the intentions of what each thing was saying about him and about her and about us. So
That's why that B scene really messed with me when I remembered that it existed.
like why?
I was like, why does this exist? Because the whole rest of the movie feels so intentional. Like every scene, every shot has a purpose. Like it's meticulously thought out, unlike Stranger Things. Again, there's a purpose to everything that you're seeing on screen, which I love when a movie does that.
Sure.
But yeah, anyway, let's talk about the ending. What do you think about the way it ends? It ends with him crying in a nursery, I guess, looking at what could be his kid. Do you think it's his kid? Do you think it's someone else's kid?
I mean, they kind of show us it's his kid at the start, unless it's like just a weird. But that's kind of how I took that, was like at the start of the movie, the whole like title sequence. I kind of took that as like it's his
Very
kid.
shocking title sequence when it first came up. We saw it in a theater full of dudes, and they all started laughing, though. It was great.
Yeah, I was with my brother, and he again thought it was a sports movie, and he just looks at me and goes, "What is this movie about? What are we doing?" And then again at the B scene, he's like, "What's going on?" I was like, "To be honest, I'm just here for the ride."
I have no idea.
But
I saw the marketing campaign.
basically, I saw the marketing campaign, and I saw Dune 2, and I'll go see every Timothée Chalamet movie after that. But I don't think it really matters if it's his kid or not at the end of the day. I don't think it's really
Why?
changes anything, because I think, at least the way I took it, was like, I don't know if this is actually true. I thought it was, but like the whole movie, he's working towards this like ping pong greatness. And he doesn't actually get to even compete in the world competition at all because of your favorite guy
I hate that guy
who you
so
love
much.
so much, because you're
Yes.
spreading joy in this world. So his victory literally comes, like his great victory that they're saying is like, this is like the great thing he's been working towards, is literally just like an exhibition match that's meant to sell pens. Like it doesn't actually mean anything, but it's interesting because it means something to him.
Right.
And it's like a symbolic victory, and it's another bit of commentary on like whether chasing your dreams, I guess it's saying it's for you. It's not for everybody else. And I think he kind of realizes that throughout the movie too, especially in that moment where he beats the guy, because the whole time he's doing it to say like, oh, we're going to make ping pong big in America. I'm the next big thing. We're going to make ping pong big in America, and we're all going to get rich and famous. But it's at the end of it, it's really just saying like this was all that mattered to him was he needed to prove to himself that he could fulfill this great burden that as he calls it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's interesting that moment where he wins the ping pong game kind of put into perspective with the moment at the end where he sees his kid or not his kid or whatever. Because in that moment, he realizes, I think, that maybe there's something more, which is something that he hasn't seen at all the entirety of the movie. Even when he's being told this is his kid before, he doesn't care at all. But when the moment comes and he sees this kid and he breaks down into tears, at least the way I took that was like, at least the way it was acted, it seems that this meant more to him than anything he accomplished throughout the rest of the movie. Like that was a more emotional and more profound reaction than when he won that ping pong game.
Mm-hmm.
And the first time I think that he cries in the movie is when he sees his kid, not when he wins this game that he's been working towards the whole movie.
He just like collapses.
Yeah. And so I think that it's really interesting because I hadn't even thought about what you were saying earlier with Rachel and that being kind of the fulfillment of her arc in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So I think it's bringing him almost more to that purpose that she's had where he's seeing maybe ping pong isn't it. Maybe there's something more. And maybe this is what's actually important to me, even though I've pushed it away the entire movie and I haven't acknowledged it. And I almost got her killed and I almost did this and I almost did that. I didn't want that kid. But in this moment, it seems really like that's the most important thing in the world to him. And that's literally the first moment where anything matters to him other than ping pong. And I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, I like that perspective. I kind of went with, you're kind of meant to not know whether it's his kid or not, and that is the point. It doesn't matter, but either way, he's going to have some sort of impact on this kid's life going forward, most likely, right? But what I thought was really interesting is they have a theme that runs all throughout Marty Supreme. And it's the sins of the father, right? It's a really strong theme throughout the movie is all these people and, how their fathers have impacted them and being a father and what's a good father and everything. And it's not front and center throughout the movie, but if you go back and like watch, there's a lot of father figures throughout the movie and kind of figuring out like who's really a good father figure. Like he's really looking for guidance and he's looking for a good father figure. And he finds Kevin O'Leary, is kind of the guy that ends up being the standout. But and what makes good leadership and all of that. Like that's a really big theme throughout the movie. What I found was interesting was it does end in a way, it starts with him probably getting this girl pregnant, but we don't really know. But that's like the title sequence. We're supposed to notice that, right? It's supposed to be kind of striking. And then it ends with him seeing potentially his child, right? And with it ending with that, it's almost like that thing of, I thought of modern American sports, of particularly LeBron James came to mind, where it's like LeBron James is like the greatest or whatever, right? But what really matters to LeBron now, besides obviously money, is his kid and his kid's legacy and getting his kid established, even though his kid is like an atrocious basketball player, still somehow got him on the Lakers and like he's trying to give him some sort of start there. And I think it was interesting to me. It really led me back to conversations I've had with like dads who are in their 40s and whatever, and just talk about, their past successes in sports and, oh, I was so good at this and whatever. And what do? They live vicariously through their kids, their sons now, and what their son is going to do. And he has a son, which I think is interesting, at the end of the movie. And then it's kind of that moment that I feel like a lot of dads have, probably, I don't know, of being like, okay, this is as far as I could get, giving it my all. Like, what can my kid do now? Like, this is so much untapped potential for this next kid and whatever. And the whole movie too, the second really strong theme is the American dream throughout the whole movie, which is a little bit more obvious of a theme. But that theme kind of weaves throughout the movie, and what is the American dream, and how much can you really accomplish, and is the American dream really worth it, and all of that, right? Success, and what is success, and how far does that take you? And I just thought it was really interesting that they end off kind of on this like untapped potential of success. And like, is he successful because he now has a kid that he can make more successful? Is he successful because he won this meaningless ping pong tournament and now knows in his head that he's the greatest? Like what really is success? And it ends off on kind of an open-ended question, which I really like, because you can kind of answer that in your own mind, and you can, again, bring your own experiences to it. Because there are a lot of people that never find success in their dreams. You don't make it to the big leagues or whatever, but maybe your kid does, or you don't make it, but you find some sort of consolation in it somewhere. And that's kind of where Marty ends, is it's a very realistic American dream. You're not going to be Rocky. You're not going to ride off into the sunset all the time. And you're also not going to be, another movie I compared this to a lot was Raging Bull, which I don't know if you've seen that, but that movie is, he accomplishes everything he wants and ends up empty at the end without, he loses his family. He loses like all these things he has. And Marty Supreme is kind of the opposite of that. Still total asshole, but ends off the movie with the potential of becoming a better person, which I think is what we all have, right? We all can chase a dream to no end and end up super down and depressed, or we can look at it as maybe an opportunity for a brighter future. And I like that. It was a great ending.
Yeah, it's like an interesting commentary on like the other half of legacy, which is what the whole movie is essentially about. And so it's in that way, it's like your legacy, there's two types of legacy. There's those people that have this massive success, and then there's people that have family. And maybe they become massively successful, or maybe they don't. And depending who you are, you would see their success in different ways, where maybe if you kind of suck, if they're not successful, you're like disappointed in them. But you also have the opportunity to be like, whatever you do, I'm going to support you, which is what his mom didn't do for him.
Right.
And it leaves that open-ended question of like, what is this going to do for him? Like, how is this going to affect him, and how is this going to change his legacy? And it kind of does give you that response to like, he's a horrible person, but at the end of the day, he didn't really achieve anything. And here's this open ending that's kind of saying maybe he's not going to be so horrible. And it really is interesting. I really liked what you said about LeBron. Like, that's so funny, because it's like, yeah, like he's achieved everything you can achieve, though he's not as good as Michael Jordan.
Never will be.
Never will be. But yeah, literally all he talks and thinks about nowadays is Bronny. And
Right.
it's a very interesting like dynamic there. And I didn't even think about the ending of the movie that way, where it's like this almost secondary commentary on legacy. And like the movie that just came for me was Coco of all movies.
No way. Okay.
Because you've got the big evil guitar guy, where at the end of the day, nobody remembers him because they were remembering him because of this thing that he did, and he gets forgotten at the end of the movie. And it's all about how like family and supporting family is what actually gets you remembered in the long run, even though these are nobodies and these people didn't do anything.
Yeah.
And I guess that's in a way what it's saying about Marty is like, will he take this opportunity to actually chase his legacy, like a real legacy?
Yeah.
Or is he going to leave it and abandon it the same way that he was everything else in his life? Mm-hmm. That's a really interesting question, I guess.
It is, yeah. Yeah, and I like that they establish Marty to be a complex enough character that you can land on a totally different conclusion than somebody else.
Yeah.
Like, I could walk away and be like, oh, yeah, he's totally going to turn his life around and, like, have a family and whatever. And not that having a family defines you as being successful either.
Yeah.
Because I've met tons of people that are very successful and very happy and very fulfilled that don't have families.
Yeah.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's different paths.
There's different paths for everyone. But it actually, that ending brought me back to this podcast, hilariously. Yes, watch this podcast. We talk about deep stuff. But I've asked a lot of people, musicians, artists, business people, random people that I've had on the show, what would be the one thing that if you reach this point, where would you be like, I'm successful. I've made it, right? Which I think is a really interesting question to ask everyone. And I think it changes with time with people too. But I've gotten answers from people where it's like, oh, I want to make this dollar amount. I want this car. I want this, whatever. That's success to me. Great. I've had other people where they're like, I don't care if I ever am successful in the world's eyes, as long as like my family legacy, like I have kids that care about me, like that would be success to me. And it's just really interesting to tap into that with different people and understand like, okay, what's gone on in your life? How have you been shaped as a person, right? And then why do you land on that as your answer at this time in your life? And I thought that was really interesting about Marty Supreme is it ends, he's kind of in the middle of his life. He's in his 20s, 30s, maybe.
He's like
20s.
23 or 24, I think.
Yeah, he's in his 20s. He's
young.
made it to a point where, he could settle or he could, keep pushing for the next big thing. And it does kind of leave you with that open-ended question of like, all right, what is success to you? Do you see him as a successful person if he settles down or not? That's kind of a question it leaves you with, which I think is interesting because it tells you more about yourself as a viewer than it does about Marty.
There's also that thought, though, where, like, it doesn't have to be necessarily one or the other either. Like, you can be a good family man and still go be the best ping pong player in the world.
Right.
And I think that's important, too, is, like, just because you have this legacy of family doesn't mean you should ever give up on whatever your dream is.
Mm-hmm.
Even though maybe both are important or maybe one of them is not important to you, and that's fine, too. As long as you don't have a family and then not have it be important to you, that one's not fine. That's the one option.
Your family.
It's the one option that's not fine. If it's not important to you, don't do that one. But yeah, I think that's actually really interesting. And you can also see it as, I guess, a turning point for Rachel too, in the same way where you were talking about that. And I think that's the other half of it is like what that means to her and the fulfillment, like him coming back to that almost is a step forward in her purpose or whatever. Mm-hmm. And that's, I don't want to like diminish her character to the point of like saying like when this guy comes into her life, like that's part of her purpose. That's stupid.
No,
but I'm trying to say like
she does have a complex arc as well mm-hmm. of being, throughout the movie, she just wants Marty to be happy.
Yeah.
But she has her own purpose in her own life that she's living, whether she wants to or not, right? She's having this kid. And as soon as she lands on that decision of like, I'm having this kid, then it's like, okay, you're on your own path. Mm-hmm. But Marty doesn't see her path because he's so blinded by his. But meanwhile, she sees this path that she's going on to have a kid and start a family and try to figure out her life out there. And then at the same time, try to support Marty because she still cares about Marty and she sees his dream, even though he doesn't see hers. And she's kind of like, if you can have a good character in the movie, she's the good character. She's trying to see the best in him and encourage the good in him while also like get him to his goals and kind of gets dragged down by him, but also is like trying to achieve her own goals and is super underappreciated by everyone in her life. And it's just really interesting, the arc that she goes on.
You can definitely see like the effect he's had on her because she is also very like manipulative and problematic. Like she's definitely, even to him.
Yeah.
But you also just can't help but feel bad for her because it's like she clearly does care about him, even though, again, she does some pretty sucky things too. And he's just constantly like pushing her away. So I think that's what I was trying to say is that like this is a big moment for her because he's finally not pushing her away and he's allowing that part of his life to actually matter to him. And so that's a big success where you don't have to feel like horrible for her anymore because she's being recognized for the good she's done for him. And that's awesome. That's fantastic because he's actually recognizing her for like being a person and not just like this tool to like get to his ends and his goals. Like he's actually kind of seeing her and her purpose and her life and her individuality in that moment for the first time, as opposed to that scene where he's like, you have no purpose in this universe.
Yeah.
Which is just really not a great thing to say to somebody.
No, it's not. I thought it was a really good movie though, overall.
Yeah.
Loved it. Can't wait to see hopefully Timmy win his first Oscar. he deserves it.
That's a very interesting discussion that I've been seeing on the internet right now.
There was somebody that did a whole video that I saw on Instagram, and they were like, what's it called? They said Leonardo DiCaprio, of all people, deserves an Oscar this year. I don't know if you've seen One Battle After Another.
I wasn't a huge fan.
He
was fine.
seems like, when a legacy person just comes in for the paycheck and that's it. It was like that. He was there. He acted.
He did the role.
He's not a bad actor, so of course he does a good job. Like even when he's kind of checked out, but he's checked out in the role. Like you can't convince me otherwise. I've seen too many good Leo movies to be like, oh yeah, he was amazing in this movie.
Of all the things for him to win an Oscar for, that would be a weird one.
That would be so disappointing.
But the one I've seen a lot is Michael B. Jordan in Sinners. That's the one people are pretty mad about.
Michael B. Jordan, which also Sinners is not getting enough award recognition in general.
No, it's not.
It's a great movie.
Fantastic movie.
There was one person I met that said that movie changed their life, which was really interesting to me. I had
Did they explain this or no?
It made them want to be a better filmmaker. He's in the film industry.
Okay.
He said it made him want to be a better filmmaker because it showed him a level, it showed him a person operating at a level that was so far above what he thought was possible. And so he wanted to do that because of the movie, which I think is awesome.
That's good.
Really good for him. But yeah, I just thought it was an interesting movie to be like, that changed my life. Vampire movie. But anyway, that was a great movie. Really did not get enough recognition throughout the middle of the awards season so far. So hopefully towards the end it picks up some steam. Mm-hmm. But the other one is Paul Mescal is really, really good in Hamnet. And I think I
would argue that he's a supporting actor, though. That would be my...
That's true. But he's getting qualified as a...
Is he?
Yeah, as a leading actor.
That
at least for
kid...
like the,
should win an Oscar, by the way. He should be the best support...
The Jupe kid?
He should be the best supporting actor.
And then his brother, who's like really well known from A Quiet Place and stuff, like the more recognizable one.
Where I recognized him from.
He's in it too as like
the
older, which I thought was amazing casting choice.
Yeah, fantastic.
But
they're both incredible.
The older one is obviously amazing as an actor, but the younger one carries that movie.
That kid deserves all the awards.
Yeah.
He's so good.
I hope he at least gets an Oscar nom. Like he probably won't win. They probably won't let him win.
I mean, he's like 12. They're never gonna let that happen. But that'd be awesome.
There's a movie called Beasts of the Southern Wild that came out in the 2000s, early 2000s. And there's a little girl in that got nominated for Best Actress.
Really?
Which I thought was amazing that they did that. But she was like 8 or something. She broke the record for the youngest Academy Award nominee. But anyway, maybe
that kid deserves it.
Yeah.
He was very,
for sure,
very, very good.
Anyway, award season will be very interesting to watch. We'll have to talk about it. Sorry. We'll have to talk about it more.
For sure.
I'll have you back on to talk about that. But we do need to wrap up this segment. We're almost at an hour, which I did not think was going to happen. But Marty Supreme, Christmas Day, So to wrap up this segment, I'm going to ask Connor 10 rapid fire questions. We're going to imagine there's a clock running because I'm not even going to bother setting it. I know you're not going to get these done in time.
Hey, that sounds like doubt. I feel like I'm
all right. You know what? I'll set you a time.
No, that's not. That's okay.
No,
it's okay. It's really okay. It's good.
All right. Timer starting.
All right.
I'll count you down.
Mistake.
All right. 10 questions in 1 minute. 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. First question. If you had to delete one word from the English language forever, what is gone?
That'd be so funny.
Okay. What's something everyone pretends to enjoy?
Salad.
That's hilarious. If you woke up tomorrow and everyone agreed you were an expert on one random topic, what would you want it to be?
Making movies.
Okay. What is a sound that shouldn't be as annoying as it is?
My little brother does this thing. I can't even do it. It's kind of like when you click your tongue. But he does it like it's like guttural and it's really loud.
Have you ever seen the movie Hereditary?
No, and I never will. That scares the shit out of me.
It has that exact sound that you're describing.
Well, my little brother does that all the time, and it's awful.
So funny. If your life had a warning label, what would it say?
I don't know. Warning: this guy stinks. Not like smell, like he's a loser. I don't know.
Wow. It's a downer.
I
All
don't
right.
know. I panicked.
Number 6. What's the worst possible? Your time's out. What's the worst possible food to eat in total silence with someone?
I feel like soup or something where it's like,
Oh, you gotta like slurp it.
yeah,
I feel like croutons would be mine.
it'd be really loud.
Just really loud
Yeah.
crunching. Like, if you could ban one social norm, what are we done pretending to care about?
These are like not quick fire questions. I'm done pretending to care about. I think it's stupid. I actually found my real answer for this question.
Good.
It's so dumb when people post pictures of each other on their birthdays and they're like, happy birthday, and they tag the person. I think it's stupid. Send them a text. Show them you actually care about them. It's so performative.
Honestly, yes. I think that's a testament to what social media has become for us. Although I am guilty of doing that with people.
I'm not judging you, but I am.
Yeah, it's all good.
A little
I enjoy, the reason I enjoy this, total side note, is I find blackmail pictures of the people throughout my camera roll.
See,
from the
that's
year,
valid.
And then I just only post blackmail of them.
If you're like trying to be nice, though, it's like just text
Yeah.
them. But if you're like posting
Right.
like really photos they would never want anyone to ever see,
Yeah.
it's kind of like,
I think that's
get
kind
it,
of the
though.
fun of it, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, anyway, continuing on. What's something you'd never admit that you don't understand?
These are not quick fire. Could you answer that in 60 seconds, all of these? I doubt it. Maybe it's your turn next. Something I would never
I'd be
admit
okay with that.
I don't understand. Sometimes this isn't like a specific thing, but sometimes I'll like watch a movie and I'll pretend I like know more about it than I do, and like I actually got the point. And then I'll be like, I'll go back and I'll be sitting there by myself. And I'm like, I have no idea what they were trying to say with that movie. Like that's kind of how I felt originally when I watched Marty Supreme. I was like, I don't know what they're trying to say. And then I watched it again and I was like, okay, I get it.
Yeah, it makes a little more sense as you go through it more times. That's actually a great question, or a great answer to that question. Okay, if you had to give a TED Talk with no prep, what topic are you choosing?
TED Talk with no prep. What topic am I choosing? I would talk about Plato's Cave.
Plato's Cave.
You ever heard of Plato's Cave?
No, I have not.
It's a great philosophical thing.
You should give a TED Talk about it.
Maybe I'll come back.
What's a question you hate being asked? It's a great way to end.
What's your major? Or where you're from, or anything that's icebreaker wise at school.
Oh my gosh.
Makes me want to die.
Yeah. What's your major is brutal.
I thought you were asking me for a
What do
second.
you do for work is another bad one. Yeah.
Yeah,
there's
it's
a
the
lot of
same.
bad ones.
That everyone gets that question in a different form. What's your major? What do you do for
Yeah.
work? What's your whatever?
Yeah. It's just an annoying icebreaker question. What's your favorite part of whatever?
Anything icebreaker. I hate icebreaker.
Yeah.
I hate them.
Yeah.
They're awful.
You just encounter them too much, I think. It's the problem. But anyway. All right. Something you can never encounter too much is the color orange. It's very rare. This I identify as rusted orange right here. Oh, good job. Way to show up.
Go Canes.
That's falling apart orange.
Why are you calling it that?
Did you see the Marty Supreme meeting thing that they did? The like Zoom
Oh
meeting?
yeah, I forgot
It was
all the
like-
jokes. Is it a reference that I
Yeah.
didn't? Okay, I'm sorry.
It's all good.
It's falling apart orange.
There's
Canes.
rusted orange, falling apart orange, and something else orange. I forget the third one. Someone comment if anyone watches these.
Actually, speaking of the orange, just really quickly,
Yeah.
that was the bit I didn't get about the movie. They
Oh.
made the orange ping pong ball thing seem like a big part of it
Uh-huh.
in the marketing, and it was just completely irrelevant. It meant nothing.
You know what that is? That is amazing marketing.
It's great marketing, but it really made me mad when I was
Yeah.
watching the movie. It's like the orange ping. The only thing that I recognize is like, oh, when he finally beats the guy, they're both wearing white shirts.
Yeah.
That's the only thing, and he's
Yeah.
like realizing that it doesn't matter. That's the
Yeah.
only thing I could possibly understand.
So
with that.
you know what's to me very impressive about that is, it is the whole movie is set up where none of the marketing that they do matters in the movie.
That's why I was
which
confused.
I think is so great, because the best thing you can do in marketing is set up something that's going to make people talk going into a movie, and then will make them talk after the movie. And they did that so well, because everyone was talking about like, oh, this is like crazy marketing going on.
It's really good.
Go to see the movie. A lot of people went to see the movie just because of the marketing, which is great. And then as soon as you leave the movie, you're disappointed by something in the movie, or you're thinking about something in the movie afterwards. It's okay if it's bad. There's no such thing as bad publicity. So even if people are saying bad things about the movie, like the lady on TikTok who took her 10-year-old to see it, you know, it's
Timothée
good marketing.
Chalamet.
It's still being talked about, which is amazing. So anyway, thank you all for tuning in to yet another episode. And hopefully we'll get Connor back soon when he's done with his next set of finals, probably. And we can talk about the Oscars or something interesting like that. So
Yeah.
we'll see. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Peace.